Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to Social Studies. And we are back at it with religions. We really examined Judaism on Tuesday. Thank you with your patience for that. I know that was a long lesson because we're squeezing in a whole religion in basically one day. So thank you for sitting through that and doing that. Very much appreciated. And I hope it was interesting to learn about something you may not know much about. Today we're going to recap what we learned about on Tuesday, and then we are going to tie in modern day information with Judaism in terms of the Holocaust and watch a movie about that, a little video about that. But let's go ahead and review first. So, to the review, you have this in front of you, your comparisons chart, I'm sure you do. You have all this written in. So, let's just review. Again, Judaism is the oldest monotheistic religion. It is about 3,000 to 3,500 years old. Monotheistic means the Jews believe in one God and they call him Yahweh. That is their term for him. Israel is where most of the 13 million Jews live, but there are Jews throughout the world, including the United States. And the main founders are if we have to pick the most significant people in the Jewish religion, we would probably say Abraham and Moses. Abraham gets the original word from God. God comes to Abraham and says, Abraham, I want you to start teaching everyone about me, the one God, this monotheistic religion. That was a new idea. Before that, religions were polytheistic only. And so this was a really brand new idea to the people. And so Abraham gets this task, and God tells Abraham, if you take your people to the land of Canaan and go there, then this will be your promised land. And Abraham does that, and they go there. But over time, there's a famine, and the people head west into Egypt, and they become enslaved by the Egyptian people. And a man named Moses, who was originally born to a slave girl, is pushed down the river in a basket because she's trying to save him. He's rescued by the princess, and he grows up as royalty. And through all these series of events and the 10 plagues, he eventually frees the Jews from bondage of Egyptian rule. And they go back over to the Sinai Peninsula, and they eventually, over time, go back into this promised land. But in this promised land, the Jews are invaded over time again and again and again by Assyrians, by Babylonians, by Romans, by Persians. Remember King Cyrus? He also conquers the Jews and then frees them from what they're originally bonded from the people that he's conquering. And he allows them to keep their Jewish religion, but they're not in their promised land at that time. They don't get to all go back there. But Cyrus the Great shows up again in Jewish history. We know that, moving on, that the Torah is the most sacred scripture and document for the Jewish people. It is also the first 5 books of the Christian Bible. It's the Old Testament. It's called the Old Testament for Christians. It's called the Torah for Jews. Jews worship at a synagogue. This is actually all one word cut off by the column right there, synagogue. A rabbi is an educated leader in the Jewish community. He'd be someone you would consult with and may lead some ceremonies. There are different branches of Judaism. Orthodox and Reform are those two branches. The general basic beliefs of Judaism squeezed into one tiny column, which is crazy. But if we had to squeeze it into one column, we could say that the Jews believe in one God called Yahweh, that they have a covenant or an agreement, a personal one-on-one agreement and promise with God. Each person, each Jew has that. They live a moral life as is outlined in the Torah and as is outlined in the Ten Commandments, which we saw in Hip Hughes. The most influential and known symbol for Jews is the Star of David, which is, I believe, on your slide today. Maybe not. Nope, not today. So you probably looked that up yesterday, or excuse me, on Tuesday, and added that to your drawing right there. Drew that in. So that is a very, very basic recap of the Jewish religion. And we are now going to go over to the map that you guys looked at today because I wanted you just to see where Israel is in today's world. And why are we talking about Israel? Well, this is that area of the Promised Land we saw in Hip Hughes, and we saw that area marked out. And talking about the Holocaust and World War II, Israel was, or the Jews were given this land of Israel after World War II. And we know, well, maybe you don't know, Mr. Troutner and Mr. Osborne typically give you a lesson for about the Holocaust at the end of sixth grade. And you guys didn't get that last year. Unfortunately, you weren't able to have that lesson because of coronavirus. And so, in speaking with Mr. Troutner and Mr. Osborne, they said, when you're talking about Judaism and you're talking about the Jews, you could show them at least this clip about the Holocaust. And so, this is one teeny tiny part of the lesson that they would normally give you about the Holocaust. But I want you to think about modern day tie-ins to this religion. So we learned about the history mostly on Tuesday. We just recapped the history. But the Jews have been persecuted through time, and we heard about those different invasions, and we heard about that in Hip Hughes, and we listed all the different invasions. We just listed them again: Syria, Rome, Persians, and the Jews have not had a place to call their own for many, many years. And one of the things that happens in World War II is that the German leader, Hitler, does not like Jews and he wants to eradicate them. He wants to get rid of them. He wants them to be eliminated. And so there's a genocide of the Jewish people. 6 million people were killed under Hitler's rule as a way to get rid of this race, this group that he considers inferior, He considered the Aryan race the only race and the only good group of people, and everyone else he wanted to get rid of, and especially Jews. And Hitler, started this process years in advance of what we would now mark as World War II, doing things like ostracizing Jews into groups or camps within cities, persecuting their businesses, raiding their businesses, breaking into their businesses, stealing from them, making them, like I said, live in certain areas, marking them with the Star of David. And this starts to happen slowly but surely, and it ramps up. And then with World War II, he begins killing off large groups of Jews. And we're not totally getting to how that happened, how he did that. But it suffices to say that to kill 6 million people, you have to be pretty organized in killing large amounts of people at one time. The video today is about a really great soccer team, FC Start, and they are a group that somehow manages to give hope at the beginning of this World War II when things are getting really crazy, when things are starting to ramp up, and people are being taken places and killed and executed. This soccer team is able to rise above that and in some way give hope to the people. I don't want to give it away too much. I want you to watch it and go through the whole movie. They give you the information and they show you how it happens and they have different people speaking. But I want you to discuss afterwards, how do you think that this soccer team was able to give the people some hope as things were getting very scary, as things were getting very nerve-wracking and unsettling? How was the soccer team a sport, you could call it a silly sport, a silly game? How was it able to uplift people? So please discuss that after the video. I think you'll find it really interesting and cool. And this is the most minimal lesson on the Holocaust, but it has to do with the Jews and Judaism. And so it's a little tie-in to a little more modern day. And this was, I think they specified this particular event was about 70 years ago. You have to listen to the video to get the specifics. But not that long ago. Not that long ago. And so pretty crazy that this was happening. And then also just something to tinker around in your head, thinking about how was a person able to organize the execution of 6 million people while an entire world was surrounding him? So how does that happen? Now that's a huge topic for another day and ones I don't have the answer to. Maybe fear has something to do with it, but just thinking about that, right? So you'll listen to that video and then discuss with your class. And then after that huge heavy topic about FC Start and the soccer team, then we will go on to correct your work from Wednesday. I'm going to link in the answers for you. You'll have that available to you. Please get with someone, go through each one of your answers, maybe read the sentences back and forth, make sure you have all the correct answers so that you are ready for your exam that will be coming up, your test, your project, all the things that you need this for. Make sure that it is correct and you have it all saved correctly in your Google Classroom. Okay, that's a lot for today because the topic of the Holocaust is huge. It's sad, it's difficult to talk about, but this particular story is a really interesting one and it's uplifting because of the hope that this soccer team was able to give, even amongst the scariness and the fear of this man named Hitler starting to take his final solution, as he called it, to the next level. So sit back, enjoy the video, discuss it when it's done, correct your work, and that will be it for today after you finish the reflection, which I nearly forgot about. It's simply a wondering kind of a question. What do you think a question could be that a Jew would ask Abraham if he was still around today? If Abraham reappeared and he was here on earth today, what do you think a Jew might ask him about? So that's your lesson for today, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Teachers, would you please play it separate? It seems to play easier than putting it through Screencastify if you just play it separate. So here's that link. Thank you very much. Have a great day.